Seeing your favorite hero defeated can hurt.
But seeing your favorite hero corrupted, that's just downright unbelievable.
Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's me, Amanda McKnight, aka Vampex13.
And I'm your host, Adam Andrews. Today, we'll be counting down the top 10 superhero downfalls we can't believe happened, again, on this part 3.
If you missed the previous parts, make sure you check them out to see if any of your top picks are on there, or maybe they might be on here.
And let us know which superhero downfall left you the most bewildered in the comments down below.
Number 10, Chasm. Chasm is Ben Reilly, who became a villain once more following the events of Spider-Man Beyond. During Beyond, Ben Reilly was given the role of Spider-Man after being hired by the Beyond Corporation, which had acquired the Spider-Man trademark. Despite this, both Peter and Ben showed up to fight the UFOs as Spider-Man, with Peter ending up comatose while Ben was safe thanks to the new Spider-Man suit he'd received from Beyond. Operating as Spider-Man while Peter was unable to, Ben discovered the truth of the Beyond Corporation and of the fact that he'd been having his mind wiped by them regularly. Apparently something he signed up for himself. Peter returned to defeat Beyond and help Ben, but instead the two ended up fighting each other, with Ben seemingly perishing. However, it was later revealed that Ben is still alive, and due to his memories still being incomplete, became a villain going by the name Chasm. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, be sure to show us you love us by clicking that like button. I wish there was a love button for you to click, but there's not. It's just all we got is like.
Number 9, Bucky Barnes. In the comics, just like his Marvel Cinematic Universe counterpart, Bucky Barnes faced a transformation that would redefine his character. Initially believed to have perished on a mission alongside Captain America, crashing while on an experimental rocket, he was, in fact, captured and subjected to intense brainwashing by the USSR. When Bucky resurfaced as the Winter Soldier, he was one of the deadliest adversaries in the Marvel Universe, capable of going toe-to-toe with his former ally, Captain America. His time as a ruthless brainwashed assassin was colored by dark deeds and chilling actions that would haunt him for a very long time after he returned to the side of the heroes. Now, while Bucky has rejoined the ranks of heroes, the shadow of his time as the Winter Soldier continues to cast a long, haunting presence over his character to this day.
Number 8, Malice. How best to describe Malice? Well, she's a bit complicated. She is in essence the darker side of Susan Storm, but there's also like a ton of other Malices in the comics, and one of them is like their own entity even, that also can possess people. It's a whole bunch of things really, and there's also Penance, which sounds like Malice but isn't. After all, this is comics, so obviously there's a lot of names here that, can't be exclusive. However, for this list, the Malice that we're talking about is the evil side of Susan Storm, who was made manifest initially by the Psycho Man's hate monger. This personality within Susan would reappear a few times in the comics before eventually being permanently wiped from Sue's psyche by Psylord. At least, so we think. I don't think that Malice has come back since then, but I wouldn't be surprised, that's all I'm saying. Sue has to deal with a lot of crazy shit.
Number 7, Ultimate Black Widow. A change in the Ultimate Universe that actually made sense in my head for some reason was the relationship between Tony Stark and Black Widow. Shortly after Iron Man joined the S.H.I.E.L.D.-sponsored Ultimates team, he and Natalia Romanova struck up their relationship, and it went so far the two eventually got engaged, with Tony even giving Black Widow her own nanite-controlled suit of armor, which did look really cool by the way. But the happy couple didn't last too long, as it turned out that Natalia was actually a traitor working for the Liberators. After she turned on Tony, she managed to end the life of his longtime butler and close friend, Jarvis. Kind of an unredeemable act there. So it didn't feel so bad when Tony used the nanites inside Natasha's body, the ones used to control that fancy new armor, to paralyze her and steal information from her brain about the Liberators and her betrayal. And then, Tony knocks her unconscious with a wine bottle, giving her brain damage. There was also this whole raunchy video that got leaked of the two, which just felt kind of random, but hey, it happens. But then, even worse than all of that, she took the life of Hawkeye's entire family, and to top it off, framed Captain America for it. Damn.
Number 6. Troia. Donna Troy is a popular character known for her association with the Teen Titans and as a superhero. In the past, she was also known as Wonder Woman's younger sister, but she is now an adult in the comics. While she has appeared in many stories, I want to focus on a lesser known aspect of her character. In an alternate future, a version of Donna Troy becomes Wonder Woman's greatest enemy, known as Troia, which is also a name that the main continuity version of Donna has been known as, and I know that, but this is its own thing, so just go with me here. This version of Troia has been a villain for over 1,000 years in her timeline. In her reality, many of the fellow Titans have died, and Donna realizes that she was created solely to be a weapon. She embraces this as her destiny and kills many villains and heroes as a result, including Diana, who played a role in the lie that Donna believed about herself, that she was ever anything more than a weapon, a tool.
Number 5. Hank Pym. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Hank Pym is portrayed as a hero who previously donned the Ant-Man suit. But that Hank is a pretty different version of the character in the comics, who has a much darker and controversial history. In the comic book universe, Hank and his partner Janet were not only heroes in a relationship, but founding members of the Avengers. Their life together was not as seemingly well structured as it was in the MCU, especially when Hank experienced a mental breakdown after being suspended from the team. He accidentally dropped and smashed some vials containing various unknown gases. The released gases gave Pym a radical temporary personality change in him that was basically a severe case of schizophrenia. He took the new identity of Yellow Jacket, kidnapped Van Dyne, and proposed marriage to her as Pym had long wanted to do. Now, realizing that Yellow Jacket was really Pym, Van Dyne decided to play along, fearing that she would worsen his psychological condition if she did otherwise. Their relationship was pretty bad, with Pym feeling like a useless scientist and being jealous of his wife's success as a fashion designer. It all took a disturbing turn though when Hank physically struck Janet, highlighting the trouble's depths to which he had sunk. While Hank eventually returned to heroism, sort of, his problematic behavior struck a big shadow over the character going forward.
Number 4. Older Iron Man. Although I would say the later times that this happened, it wasn't as much of a surprise. The first time most definitely was. Iron Man is well known for being one of the most iconic members of the Avengers superhero team. So, how was he corrupted? Well, in an event that is often regarded by fans as being one of the weirdest for character designs and honestly also kind of for story, Iron Man was revealed to have been a sleeper agent of Immortus, an alternate timeline version of Kang the Conqueror, for many years. As such, he started turning on his allies and friends who turned to Tony's past self in the hopes of defeating him, bringing a younger version of him to the present, a version of Tony who had not yet been corrupted by Immortus. This version would lose in a fight against his older, now evil self, but ultimately would take older Iron Man's place after older Iron Man chose to sacrifice himself, having a moment of redemption before he ultimately passed. And then they got melded together, and now we have Tony today, and it's a weird thing.
Number 3. Terra of the Teen Titans. The Judas Contract story is definitely the most popular and definitive new Teen Titans story to date, and it includes a gutting betrayal that I would be remiss to not talk about. In New Teen Titans number 26, we are introduced to Terra Markov, a young girl who joined the team. Now, it turns out that Terra had actually infiltrated the team following orders from none other than their nemesis, Deathstroke the Terminator. Terra, being brainwashed, dismantled the team from the inside out, and it completely wrecked the Titans. She and Deathstroke were eventually foiled by intervention from Deathstroke's son, Jericho, and Dick Grayson in his first outing as Nightwing, with Terra passing away at the story's conclusion, having brought down a building around herself in a blind rampage. The Titans still honor her to this day with a statue and with the name being passed on to other heroes, but goodness gracious was this story fantastic and the betrayal deep and rooted.
Number 2. Omega Spawn. I still can't believe that this happened, although I guess it only happened in an alternate reality, so that's fine. And I guess I can kinda see Spawn being an evil guy, but still, before I knew whether or not this was canon or alternate timeline magic, I was shook by the revelation that Spawn became Omega Spawn. I thought Omega Spawn initially was just a straight up alternate or like a different character altogether, but when I looked into it, I realized that this version of Spawn was simply an Al Simmons who had fulfilled one of his destinies, with Satan preparing Al to take take his place as ruler of Hell, which is precisely what happens here. Omega Spawn is what would happen if Spawn took on the crown from the devil and allowed it to corrupt him, becoming the ruler of Hell and Hell's champion as opposed to Heaven's, which is another path that was actually offered to him in the main continuity, but one that he ultimately refused. In fact, at this point, Spawn actually hates both Heaven and Hell equally. Although Omega Spawn is also confusing to me because I feel like there's also like another Omega Spawn and Omega Spawn.
And finally, in at number 1 today, it's Hulk the End. Okay, so for the most part, these lists so far have dealt with the downfall of a hero to become a villain. While the Hulk has certainly had that in the form of Maestro and some other times, the Hulk also has a story called Hulk the End. Now, the End series chronicles the last days of various different characters in the Marvel Universe. For a lot of Doomsday type stories, it often ends in the Earth being destroyed in a nuclear war. But what remains after that? Basically, it's the Hulk. As the only human left on planet Earth, Bruce Banner wanders the waste in an eternal struggle with himself, as in an eternal struggle with the Hulk. Basically, Bruce has seen the passing of all those that he loved, all those that he cared about. There's nothing left for him in this world, and he would prefer to just pass away. But no matter what he does, the Hulk does not let him. For the Hulk persona, he thinks Banner's will to pass away is a puny human thought, and he wants to be the strongest there is and to be separated from Banner and just left alone. The two of them have a huge internal falling out, and then Bruce has a heart attack that actually ends his life, or at least his half of life, because while the Hulk himself goes on to survive, he now realizes just how alone he actually is. How's that for a downfall?
And that, my friends, is the end!
But fear not, for we shall be here every day, forever, because it's the internet.
It's true. Thank you guys so much for watching here on Top 10 Nerd and for making it to this point in the video. So few of you do, thank you. I'm Amanda McKnight.
And I'm Adam Andrews, and we'll catch you nerds on the flippity flop.
Stay nerdy, YouTube.
Whoop, whoop.